There's a moment in everyone's life where you look at someone and feel something you can't explain. A pull, a spark, a rush of energy that feels too strong to ignore and too familiar to question. You tell yourself it's chemistry, destiny, something cosmic. But deep down, you feel a quiet fear right underneath the excitement. A warning that whispers, "This will hurt you." And yet you move closer anyway, because the person you want the most is almost never the one who brings you peace. They're the one who awakens the chaos you've been carrying inside your whole life. And Carl Jung understood this better than anyone. Humans don't fall in love with people. They fall in love with patterns. They fall in love with wounds. They fall in love with familiarity, even when familiarity is killing them. This is the dark truth you don't want to admit. The person you want is often the poison you mistake for love. Not because you're weak, not because you're foolish, but because you're wounded. Desire doesn't come from harmony. It comes from emotional memory, the kind you inherited long before you knew how to speak, the kind shaped by the people who raised you, the people who hurt you, the people whose validation you still subconsciously crave. You're not drawn to the person who's good for you. You're drawn to the person who recreates the emotional environment you were shaped in. If love felt inconsistent in your childhood, then inconsistency feels like home. If you grew up chasing attention, then people who withhold love feel magnetic. If you were trained to earn affection, then those who make you prove yourself feel valuable. If you were taught that love requires suffering, then suffering feels romantic. If you grew up feeling unseen, then you will chase people who see you only in small, addictive doses. This is why someone who triggers your insecurity feels more attractive than someone who makes you feel safe. This is why someone who confuses you feels more exciting than someone who gives you clarity. This is why someone who creates emotional highs and lows feels more intoxicating than someone who stays calm and consistent. Your nervous system mistakes danger for passion because danger was your emotional home. And so you fall for someone who feels like that familiar danger. You fall for the person whose presence activates your deepest fears. Fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of being replaced, fear of being invisible, fear of not being chosen. And instead of running away, you run toward them. Because the fear feels like love. Because your body doesn't know the difference yet. Attraction is not random. Your wound picks the person long before your mind does. And the one your wound chooses is rarely the one who will heal you. It's the one who will expose the wound again. You think you're falling in love, but you're falling into repetition. You think you want them, but what you want is emotional resolution. You want them to finally give you what the original people in your life couldn't. You want them to stay in the way someone didn't. You want them to choose you in the way someone never did. You want them to love you in the way you were starved for. You're not trying to love this person. You're trying to heal through them. And the wound convinces you that healing must come from the same kind of person who caused the pain in the first place. The poison feels like medicine because the wound remembers the taste. Every time they ignore you, you want them more. Every time they pull away, your attraction intensifies. Every time they confuse you, you fall deeper. Every time they validate you, you feel high. Every time they withdraw, you feel withdrawal. This is not love. This is addiction. They become the emotional drug your wound craves. Not because they make you feel whole, but because they temporarily numb the ache that was already inside you. And the most painful part? Your mind knows the truth, but your body doesn't. Your mind sees the red flags, but your heart calls them destiny. Your logic sees patterns, but your trauma calls it passion. Your intuition warns you, but your longing overrides it. You say, "I don't know why I want them so much." But you do. Your wound knows. Your past knows. Your nervous system knows. Your fear knows. Your inner child knows. You want them because they activate the forgotten version of you. The version that begged for love, waited for love, was punished for love, and was never fully given love. So you cling to them with everything you have. You mistake emotional flashbacks for intimacy. You mistake anxiety for attraction. You mistake longing for love. You mistake inconsistency for depth. You mistake chaos for chemistry. You mistake pain for meaning. And little by little, the poison becomes your comfort. You swallow it willingly. You take it, hoping it will fix you. You keep going back for another dose, and every time it hurts more, you convince yourself it means the connection is more real. But what if the hurt is the proof it's not real? What if the pain is the evidence that it was never love? It was your wound screaming through your desire? Because the person you truly love doesn't make you collapse. They don't make you feel like you're fighting for air. They don't make you beg for attention. They don't make you sacrifice your worth. They don't make you chase. They don't drain you emotionally. They don't leave you in pieces. Real love is calm. Real love is grounding. Real love is stable. Real love is consistent. Real love is safe. But safety feels foreign when your history taught you that love is supposed to hurt. And that is why you keep choosing poison, not because you want to, but because your body doesn't yet know what real love tastes like. It only recognizes the familiar bitterness of old pain. Before you ever met this person, the one who feels irresistible, unforgettable, impossible to let go, there was already a fracture inside you, a wound that shaped your body's understanding of love long before your mind could analyze it. And that wound didn't just influence who you chose, it decided for you. It decided what felt familiar. It decided what felt romantic. It decided what felt safe, even when it wasn't. This is the terrifying truth. Your body bonds with what it remembers, not what you deserve. So when someone enters your life and their behavior mirrors the emotional patterns of your past, the distance, the uncertainty, the inconsistency, the emotional coldness. You don't run. You feel drawn in. You feel something awaken, something old, something unfinished, something that your nervous system believes it must solve. People think attraction is instinct, or chemistry, or fate. But attraction is repetition, a psychological loop disguised as romance. And this loop is powerful because the nervous system doesn't distinguish between familiarity and safety. It treats them as the same thing. If love in your childhood came mixed with fear, then fear feels like love. If love came mixed with abandonment, then abandonment feels like passion. If love came with unpredictability, then unpredictability feels like connection. If love came with emotional distance, then distance feels exciting. This is why the person who confuses you feels more magnetic than the person who understands you. This is why your heart races faster for the emotionally unavailable than for the emotionally present. This is why you chase intensity, but push away calmness. This is why you crave people who activate your anxiety instead of your peace. Your body thinks it's protecting you, but it's repeating you. Every moment with this person feels like a test. Will they choose you today? Will they call? Will they come back? Will they stay? Will they change? This constant uncertainty doesn't make you walk away. It makes you invest more, because unpredictability creates a survival bond. This is exactly how addiction works. Your nervous system becomes dependent on the emotional high and low cycle. Attention, relief, distance, panic, attention, relief, distance. This cycle chemically rewires your body. Oxytocin, dopamine, adrenaline, cortisol. They all collide and create a psychological drug. This drug makes the wrong person feel like the right one. It makes the pain feel meaningful. It makes the emotional chaos feel like destiny. You're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the pattern they activate. And the more they hurt you, the deeper the addiction grows. Because now, your mind isn't fighting for the person. It's fighting for the version of yourself you feel you lose when they pull away. You want them not because of who they are, but who you become when they choose you. For a moment, their validation makes your entire history disappear. Every insecurity goes silent. Every fear pauses. Every wound feels temporarily healed. That small dose of attention becomes your emotional painkiller. But like all painkillers, the effects fade. And when they do, you feel the withdrawal, the anxiety, the uncertainty, the ache in your chest, the need for more. And that's when you chase. Not because you're desperate, but because your wound is screaming again. The person becomes a symbol, the cure you never got, the safety you never felt, the love you never received, the closure your childhood was missing. You're not running after love. You're running after emotional completion. And this is the darkest part of all. The person who triggers your wounds becomes the one you believe can heal them. It feels logical to the wounded part of you. If they finally love me, the pain will disappear. But that's the illusion. The poison convinces you it is the antidote. The mind knows this is dangerous, but the wound wants redemption. And people mistake this redemption seeking for love. This is why you tolerate behavior that destroys you emotionally, not because you don't know better, but because you don't know anything else. Your nervous system chooses what is familiar, not what is healthy. And until this changes, you will keep falling for the same type of person in a different human form. Different face, same feeling. Different story, same ending. Different promise, same pain. The person feels unique to you, but the pattern is ancient. It's older than the relationship, older than your adolescence, older than your adult struggles. It goes all the way back to your earliest emotional teachers, the ones who taught you how love feels, not how love works. This is the part you don't want to admit. The poison feels like love because love once felt like poison. This is why honest, kind, consistent people confuse you. Why emotionally healthy partners make you uncomfortable. Why stability feels suspicious. Why peace feels boring. Why clarity feels overwhelming. Your body has learned to expect the worst and call it passion. But here is the turning point. Once you become aware of the pattern, you cannot unknow it. This awareness is painful. It feels like a breakup before the breakup. It feels like losing a fantasy. It feels like grieving the version of yourself who believed intensity was love. But awareness is also liberation. Because when you finally see that your longing is coming from a wound, the spell begins to break. You stop asking, "Why am I not enough for them?" and start asking, "Why am I choosing someone who cannot love me?" You stop waiting for their effort and start recognizing your own exhaustion. You stop craving their validation and start noticing your own trauma response. You stop needing their love to prove your worth. You start separating desire from truth. You start separating chemistry from compatibility. You start separating connection from chaos. You start separating passion from pain. You start realizing they are not the cure. They are the symptom. And the poison only works as long as you don't understand what it is. If this opened your eyes to the truth behind desire, like the video, share your story in the comments and subscribe to Psychatic. Healing begins the moment you stop mistaking poison for love.